Imagine right now that you have the power to transform the biggest challenges of your life into the most profound and meaningful victories of your existence. It may sound far off, but that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. We're diving deep into the heart of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has empowered ordinary people for centuries to face adversity with courage and find serenity even in chaos. Think for a moment about the last time you faced a situation that tested your patience or shook your confidence. How did you respond? Were you driven by impulsive reactions, or did you manage to respond calmly, aligned with your deepest values? This is where Stoicism shines. It teaches us to face life's challenges with wisdom, emotional balance, and inner strength. Today, we'll reflect on a fundamental principle: the art of training your mind to respond rather than react. This isn't just about staying calm in tough situations or managing your temper. It's about developing a deep awareness of the present moment, building a solid foundation that allows you to face life's ups and downs with intention and clarity. The ancient Stoic philosophers, known for their practical approach to life, believed that while we may not control what happens to us, we are fully responsible for how we interpret and respond to those events. That's the core of Stoicism. Focus on what's within our control and let go of what is not, grounding ourselves in conscious choices guided by reason. This timeless wisdom invites us to pause, reflect, and choose a wiser path instead of acting on impulse. And why is that so important? Just think of how many times we regret reacting in the heat of the moment, out of anger, sadness, or frustration because of something someone said or an unexpected event. Now imagine how different it would be if, instead, you were able to remain calm, centered, and present, even when everything around you feels out of control. This practice isn't just about preserving your inner peace. Above all, it's a powerful way to become a more resilient, compassionate, and effective person. Qualities that not only transform your own life, but positively impact the lives of those around you. In today's conversation, we'll explore practical strategies by combining insights from modern psychology with the timeless principles of Stoic philosophy. The goal is simple but profound: to help you develop a more mindful, responsive, and centered mindset. This shift in mindset can completely transform how you handle life's daily challenges. We'll talk about how to cultivate mindfulness, the ability to be truly present, and why that's key to responding with clarity instead of reacting impulsively. We'll also touch on the importance of recognizing and expressing your emotions constructively, rather than suppressing or exploding with them. And most of all, we'll learn to maintain a broader perspective, a higher vision of life, something the Stoics wisely emphasized. By the end of this journey, you'll have in your hands a true set of mental tools, a guide to help you create space between stimulus and response, allowing you to pause, reflect, and choose a response more aligned with your values and goals. It's not about ignoring difficulties, but facing them with calm, strength, and discernment. So I invite you to join me in this reflection. Let's explore how ancient wisdom and modern knowledge can teach us to use the power of our minds to live with more purpose, clarity, and balance. To choose our responses mindfully, transforming experiences and interactions into valuable lessons, we must understand deeply what it means to overreact. We then enter a space where every thought and every action is intentional, echoing the timeless teachings of Stoicism. The Stoics, respected sages from ancient Greece and Rome, had a view of life that surprisingly fits the fast pace of our modern world. They didn't try to escape emotions, but sought to understand and master their reactions, believing that true human power lies in the freedom to choose how to respond to any situation, no matter how difficult. And why is this so important? Picture a real-life moment. You're in a tense meeting or facing an unexpected personal challenge. The most common reaction is to act on impulse, driven by the heat of the moment, by anger or anxiety. However, while those reactions are understandable, they usually don't serve us well in the long run. On the contrary, they can worsen conflicts, harm relationships, and lead to decisions we later regret. This is exactly where Stoicism shines. It invites us to live in alignment with reason and nature, that is, with balance and coherence. The Stoic proposal is clear. Our actions should not be the result of uncontrolled impulses, but conscious choices guided by virtue. When we learn to pause, reflect, and respond with wisdom, we take a huge step toward a more stable, ethical, and meaningful life. By embracing this philosophy, we learn to observe our initial impulses with awareness, analyzing them with a more rational mind. Instead of allowing fleeting emotions to take control, we begin choosing actions that are aligned with our deepest values and the long-term goals that truly matter. Responding instead of reacting is an act of awareness. Above all, it means taking a brief moment to reflect before taking action. When we face challenging situations, that pause allows us to look beyond what's happening externally. It invites us to notice what's also shifting within us. This conscious pause is not passivity, but a form of practical wisdom. It gives us the opportunity to consider different possibilities and choose a response that is aligned with reason and, most importantly, within our control. Following this Stoic approach in practice doesn't mean repressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. On the contrary, Stoicism teaches us to acknowledge what we feel, understand where those emotions come from, and from there, make clearer and more thoughtful decisions about how we will act. That's the key to living with more serenity and effectiveness. Not denying what we feel, but learning to respond with emotional intelligence, guided by reason, virtue, and what truly matters to us. This approach has the power to strengthen you. It allows you to interact with the world while preserving your inner peace and integrity, even when everything around you feels chaotic. And the benefits go far beyond personal well-being. Learning to respond instead of reacting impulsively transforms the way you relate to others, improves your leadership, and increases your ability to face adversity with composure. When you respond with attention and balance, you show respect, empathy, and understanding, qualities that strengthen human connections and make relationships more authentic and constructive. When we act with awareness, we create a more harmonious environment around us. This behavior inspires others, encourages meaningful dialogue, and opens space for deeper, more genuine connections. That's why, when you embark on this journey of inner transformation, you don't just change your own life, you also positively impact everyone around you. Training the mind goes far beyond having good intentions. It requires real commitment, consistent effort, and continuous discipline. Just as the Stoics practice self-mastery every day, we too are called to take an active and conscious role in our inner development. The ancient Stoic philosophers left teachings that remain incredibly useful today. They offer us valuable tools to cultivate a mind that responds with wisdom rather than reacts on impulse. It all starts with self-awareness, one of the most important pillars of Stoicism. The Stoics emphasize the need to look inward, to understand our own thoughts, emotions, and motivations. In today's world, that means developing a clear and steady perception of what we are feeling and thinking. When you become aware of your mental and emotional states, you gain the ability to better manage your reactions. This inner understanding is the first step toward acting with more balance, clarity, and intention in life situations. This developed self-awareness allows you to recognize the early signs of emotional reactions. And that is essential, as it represents the first step in choosing a more conscious, balanced response aligned with your values. Next, we enter a practice that seems simple, but is incredibly powerful: The habit of pausing. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and one of Stoicism's greatest figures, often reflected on the space between stimulus and response. That brief moment in which we have full freedom to decide how to act. When we cultivate the habit of pausing for just a few seconds in the face of difficult situations, we gain both time and clarity. This pause can be used to take a deep breath, reflect for a moment, or even practice a short meditation. Within that small space lies our true power of choice. It's where we silence automatic impulses and reconnect with our higher self. If these teachings are resonating with you so far, consider subscribing to the channel. That way, you'll continue receiving content that deepens your journey of inner growth, self-control, and mental clarity. Each new video is another step in that direction. In those moments, we can ask ourselves, what is the right thing to do now? Which action reflects my values and my best self? This simple practice brings us closer to virtue and strengthens our ability to act with purpose. Another essential strategy for cultivating a balanced mind is learning how to reframe the way we see events. This is a highly valued Stoic practice, used to maintain calm and discernment even in the face of adversity. Reframing means consciously shifting your perspective on a situation, reducing the emotional weight and opening space for new ways to deal with the challenge. For example, instead of seeing a problem at work as a threat to your performance, you might interpret it as a chance to grow, test your patience, and demonstrate resilience. When we change the internal narrative we create about what's happening, we also change our emotions, and as a result, our actions. This small adjustment in perspective can completely transform our experience and give us more control over our reactions. Furthermore, the Stoics always emphasized the importance of focusing on what is within our control, our thoughts, our actions, our decisions, while learning to accept with serenity what lies beyond it. Practicing this principle is not passivity or resignation. In fact, it means directing your energy toward what truly makes a difference. When we recognize where our true power lies, we can act with greater clarity, purpose, and integrity. And it is at this point that we stop merely reacting to events and begin responding with wisdom. Finally, the consistent practice of reflection and adjustment is one of the most powerful keys to training the mind. Reflecting on our actions, recognizing the moments when we managed to respond with balance, and learning from those in which we acted impulsively makes us stronger. This continuous cycle of self-evaluation not only nurtures a more conscious mindset, but also brings us closer to the wisdom and balance so deeply valued in Stoic philosophy. This path of self-knowledge leads us to responses that are more aligned with our truest values and goals. And this is where mindfulness becomes an essential tool. At its core, mindfulness is the exercise of being present, observing our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment. This awareness allows us to better understand what we feel and why, and from there, act more intentionally. When we practice mindfulness, we connect with the present, the only moment in which we truly have the power to choose. This practice puts us in tune with the Stoic ideal of living with purpose, awareness, and clarity. One practical way to cultivate this presence is through simple exercises, like breath-focused meditation. Simply observing your breath as it flows in and out, feeling the rhythm of your body, helps center the mind, and each time your attention drifts and you bring it back to the present, you strengthen your ability to focus. This is not just a moment of relaxation, it is real mental training. It enhances our ability to stay aware even amid chaos, distractions, and daily pressures. As we develop this habit, we become better equipped to face challenges with clarity, strength, and calm. Whether during a meal, a walk, or even while performing simple daily tasks, you can train your mind to be fully present. immersing yourself completely in each activity, observing the details of the moment with curiosity and no rush, turns ordinary actions into valuable opportunities for presence and awareness. This practice not only enriches your experience, but also strengthens your ability to stay focused and act with intention in many areas of life. An effective technique within mindfulness is called body scan meditation. In this exercise, you direct your attention to different parts of your body, noticing sensations, tension, or discomfort intentionally. This deep practice helps create a more intimate connection with your physical self, allowing you to recognize where emotions and physical stress are stored. Areas we often overlook. If this message is stirring something within you, leave a like. It shows us we're on the right path by sharing ideas that truly make a difference. And it helps us bring this knowledge to more people who are also seeking to live with intention and wisdom. By becoming aware of these areas, you learn how to release built-up tension and manage what you feel more effectively. This approach directly reflects Stoic teachings, which remind us of the importance of understanding our bodily impulses without letting them override reason. For the Stoics, recognizing physical sensations without being controlled by them is an essential step toward clarity and mental balance. This kind of practice teaches us to live more intentionally and calmly, not just reacting to impulses or distractions, but consciously choosing how we want to show up in the world. Incorporating mindfulness into our interactions with others has the power to deeply transform our relationships and the way we communicate. When we are truly present in a conversation, listening attentively, without interrupting, without judging, and genuinely trying to understand the other person, we create a safe space where authentic connections can flourish. This kind of attentive listening goes beyond simply waiting for our turn to speak. It means truly noticing the words, the tone of voice, the body language, and even what is left unsaid. This level of active presence communicates respect and care, essential elements for any healthy relationship. This practice aligns deeply with the Stoic value of empathy. The Stoics remind us that every person we encounter is fighting their own internal battles, dealing with emotions, dilemmas, and invisible pressures. Recognizing that others are also rational beings with thoughts, fears, and hopes invites us to act with greater compassion and understanding. By applying mindfulness in everyday conversations, we build stronger bonds, reduce unnecessary conflicts, and become agents of balance and harmony in a world often rushed and inattentive. Being truly present with others is, at its core, an act of humanity, connection, and mutual respect. As we embrace these mindfulness practices, we walk a path already traveled by the Stoics, a path that leads to a life of greater mental clarity, inner calm, and practical effectiveness. Over time, this conscious cultivation strengthens us to face life's inevitable challenges with more balance, wisdom, and dignity. We begin to react less impulsively and respond more intentionally. Each action becomes more aligned with our deepest values. This active presence in daily life is what empowers us to make wiser decisions, stay calm even in chaotic moments, and act with strength without losing reason. This is the true essence of living under the inspiration of Stoicism, not as a rigid set of rules, but as a way of living with awareness, purpose, and self-mastery. At this point, we can begin to shift our focus toward the practical application of everything we've learned. With this new awareness and the Stoic teachings we've absorbed, the goal becomes clear: to cultivate a lifestyle where deliberate responses replace automatic impulses. This journey, one that invites us to respond rather than react, doesn't mean suppressing emotions or eliminating our instincts. On the contrary, it means understanding those emotions, listening to them, but not being ruled by them. It's about deepening our engagement with life, acting with intention, and living with rationality, just as the Stoics advocated. To truly embody the principles we've explored so far, it's essential to establish daily practices that strengthen the ability to respond with intention rather than react out of impulse. Stoicism is not just a philosophy to reflect on occasionally. It's a way of life to be cultivated every day in both small and significant decisions. Imagine, for example, that you're faced with a difficult situation, a conflict at work, unexpected criticism, or a personal setback that shakes your expectations. The natural, almost automatic reaction would be to respond with irritation, hurt, or impatience. But it's precisely in that moment that we are invited to apply what we've learned from the Stoics. Instead of giving in to frustration, you can take that moment to pause intentionally, take a deep breath, step back emotionally for a brief moment and ask yourself, what would a Stoic philosopher do in this situation? That simple question has the power to break the cycle of reactivity and make space for a wiser response, one based on reason, not emotion. Over time, this practice of pausing and reflecting in the face of challenges becomes a transformative habit. You stop being a hostage of circumstances and begin to live in greater alignment with your values, cultivating inner peace and strength of character. This isn't about eliminating or suppressing emotions. After all, they are a natural part of the human experience. The Stoic approach is to channel those emotions constructively, using reason as a guide to move through tense moments with clarity and balance. It means recognizing what you're feeling, identifying the trigger, and from there, consciously deciding how you'll respond. Rather than acting in the heat of the moment, you make a decision rooted in your long-term values and goals. In practice, this could be something as simple as taking a short walk before replying to a critical email. That pause allows your mind to cool down, helps you regain focus, and prevents you from saying something you might later regret. In other situations, it may require deeper reflection, thinking about what's truly bothering you in a disagreement or conflict. Maybe it's not just what was said, but what it awakened within you. By seeking to understand the root of the emotion, instead of merely reacting, you gain mastery over yourself. And that's one of the greatest strengths a person can develop. Every time you choose to respond, instead of simply reacting, you are reinforcing a mental pattern that is more conscious and balanced when facing life's difficulties. This repeated practice not only builds resilience, but also deepens your sense of inner peace and contentment. You stop being a prisoner of immediate impulses and begin to build a wiser relationship with your own thoughts and emotions. Integrating this kind of mindset into your daily routine significantly amplifies its effects. A great starting point is to begin your day with a brief moment of reflection, setting your intention to act with awareness and purpose. By reminding yourself of your commitment to respond mindfully, you plant a seed that can guide your behavior throughout the day. Another powerful practice is keeping a journal. Writing about your experiences helps you recognize the moments when you were able to respond with calm and maturity, and also notice where there's still room for growth. Celebrating these small wins is essential to building your confidence, while identifying areas for improvement keeps you on the path of progress. Even more important, adopting this approach requires a mindset open to continuous learning. Every day brings new situations, new tests, and with them, new chances to train your mind to act with wisdom. By committing to this process, you're not just seeking less stress or conflict resolution, you're embracing a true way of life. A lifestyle aligned with Stoic philosophy, focused on virtue, reason, and self-discipline. You choose to live with intention, with clear purpose, and that transforms not only your inner world, but also impacts the world around you. Your actions become more compassionate, thoughtful, and useful. And by doing so, you help create a more rational, humane, and mindful environment. The journey from impulsive reaction to conscious response is deeply transformative. It invites a more sincere engagement with our inner selves and with the world around us. It's a path the Stoics walked with discipline and purpose, and now, guided by their timeless wisdom, we too can follow. This path allows us to face life's changes with greater serenity, emotional balance, and rational clarity, even amid the chaos of modern life. The goal of this reflection is not just to manage isolated reactions. It's something greater, to integrate a more mindful and thoughtful mindset into all aspects of life. By embracing Stoic principles, focusing on what is within our control, and choosing to act with reason, courage, and purpose, we become better prepared to face daily challenges with strength and meaning. Every time we choose to respond with wisdom, rather than react on impulse, we take a step toward living by the Stoic virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. This commitment to thoughtful action not only enhances our personal well-being, but also strengthens our relationships and contributes to a more compassionate and harmonious world. Remember, the journey to master response over reaction has no final destination. It's an ongoing process of learning, adaptation, and personal growth. As the Stoics taught, it is essential that we cultivate the habit of self-reflection, regularly evaluating our behaviors, identifying areas for improvement, and adjusting our course when needed. This commitment to self-development not only brings us closer to our best selves, but also positively impacts our relationships, communities, and the broader fabric of the society we live in. Every conscious choice we make becomes part of the tapestry we call life. As we close this journey together, remember, every moment is a chance to act with calm, integrity, and wisdom. Your responses, not just your words, are the threads with which you weave your character. Now, as we go our separate ways, I leave you with an invitation. Continue exploring this powerful philosophy that teaches us how to live with more intention, balance, and clarity. Join us on this journey. May your path from here on be guided by virtue, discernment, and peace. And now, I'd love to hear from you. In what moment of your life did you notice the difference between reacting on impulse and responding with awareness? Share your story in the comments. Your experience might inspire someone who's exactly where you once were.